Tracy Kennedy, she's the business service representative, and April Pearson, who is the one-stop coordinator. So they'll tell you more about their roles and what they do, and we'll have questions at the end. So ladies, welcome. Get your PowerPoint up here. Yeah, this one. All right, and that should work for you.
Awesome, thank
Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Again, my name's Tracy, Region 6 Workforce Development Board. I'm a business service rep. I work with under Amy Hall for the Wioa Workforce Innovation Act employer programs. So we're going to give you some information about that today. What is the Wioa program? You hear Wioa over and over and over, WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. The whole goal behind this program is to, one, help employers connect with job seekers, offset costs of hiring and training both new and current employees, to connect job seekers with training or with those employees. This is a federally funded program, comes out of the Department of Labor. All the employer programs are reimbursement programs. We serve 13 counties in north central West Virginia, and you'll see those counties there. So we serve all individuals, job seekers, as well as employers in this region. So I have a pretty large region. I think it's one of the larger ones in the state, but we are out in all these areas. I'm gonna let April take over. She's gonna talk about Region 6 American Job Centers, and I'll come back and we'll finish up on employer programs.
All right, thank you, Tracy. So we have 4 American Job Centers in our region. We have one in Morgantown, one in Fairmont, one in Elkins, and one in Clarksburg. At the American Job Centers, we have affiliate sites, and then we have one comprehensive site. Our comprehensive site has all of our partners. So that's Workforce West Virginia, Adult Education, Division of Rehab Services, National Council of Aging. We have a HUD representative. So we have, the DOL has mandated certain partners to take, to be involved. We also have additional partners in the partner network, such as Disability Action, so other partners are allowed to join as well. The team effort of the AJC, you can see everybody that's involved. We have state organizations, local workforce development boards, we have elected officials, we have a core partner programs. The core partners are the mandated partners of the American Job Centers. That's who the DOL has decided you need to be involved in the training of the participants coming through the American Job Centers. Required one-stop partners and additional one-stop partners. The American Job Center coordinator, which is me. My job is kind of to facilitate the partners, bring everybody together, share the information so everybody's on the same page. Just because you work together with somebody doesn't mean you know all of their services. So this makes it easier for everyone to offer the services available to those coming through the doors. This is the actual centers, if you've ever seen them or been to the American Job Centers. Sometimes you'll hear them called one-stops. That was the name before the American Job Center came into play. But these are our 4 centers. The Clarksburg Center, which is probably, is everybody here Harrison County? Yeah, okay. So the Clarksburg one's probably the one that you guys would utilize if you would need anything. It's in with the DMV in downtown Clarksburg.
Sorry.
Okay, and what the American Job Center provides is access and opportunities to job seekers, as well as if you're coming in with a new business and say you have a specialty and we don't have a workforce trained for that, if you put us in the loop and let us help you, we can work with training providers so we can have your work staff trained and ready for when you open your doors. So the American Job Center can really help employers as well as job seekers. We can pre-screen applicants. We can help write job descriptions. If you have something that you're hiring for, we have a Facebook page. We try to do outreach. We have thousands of hits on our Facebook page, so I usually make up a neat little flyer that's eye-catching. If you have a position that's open that you want more applicants for, utilize me. That's what I'm for. Send it to me. I'll push it out to all of the partner network in an email blast, and then I'll share it on our Facebook page as well. We also have virtual job fairs. I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in, but it's an option. It's free of charge. You could do that from your desk. It just dings when somebody comes in, so you will know like a messenger or a text message. It just dings and you know somebody has came in. You can access them by video right there on the spot. You can do an interview, or if you want them to come into the office, you can do that as well, free of charge to employers throughout Region 6. So if you want to do something like that, let me know and we'll get you set up. Super easy. Once you create your booth one time, it's done. So if you have, say you're hiring for something today and then 3 months from now you're hiring a different position, the only thing you would have to do is go in and update that position. Your booth is created. So it's a one and done kind of thing. So it's easy for employers who maybe can't get out to go to an actual job fair in person. So that's something to think about. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the American Job Center, or what's there, or what we do as far as the American Job Center goes?
I just want to say your emails are fabulous. They are full of information. I'm telling you right now, if you all have job openings, April gets everything out. I'm with the aerospace industry all the time. April is pushing out jobs for our companies. Use them to your advantage. It's wonderful.
I do want to mention one more thing. We just started a career clothing closet in Region 6. It's located in Fairmont. This is a free closet for job seekers. So if somebody's looking for a job, or if you've interviewed somebody, or whatever the situation is, if it's somebody that's seeing one of our partners, so any kind of unemployment, food stamps, anything that they would be collecting as far as state services, they can come in free of charge and get 2 outfits a month from head to toe. So they can get a jacket, a shirt, pants, shoes. We even have costume jewelry downstairs. It's located in Veteran Square. You just need the common referral form. If you have a question about that, you can email me. I can shoot you over a common referral form. They just have to have a referral, but it's free of charge to all 13 counties in our region. So if you would have anybody, or you would want one of these, just let me know and I'll give you one, because they're not in your packets that you've got.
And it's not Goodwill, it's business-ready clothing that
Yeah.
we've asked people to donate so that they can get that out to people who might need that kind of clothing.
Suits, ties, shoes. I mean, it's really nice. Now we do have some jeans and things like that, because not everybody dresses like we do. You know, some people wear jeans and shirts to their job because that's what they need to wear. So if you have anybody, we have a ton of clothes. Like, I've actually had to stop taking donations because the community's just been amazing. And they've loaded the closet. Non-Power was great. They started off at Drive.
Do you need help with volunteers to run it sometime?
We do. If there's anybody that wouldn't to volunteer, yes. Right now it's appointment based, so they just call the number on the back, which is my number, and then I set them up an appointment based on their availability, and then I'll just go down with them right now and let them pick what they want. And then they can try it on if they would like, or whatever. And we also have one of our partners that has offered to launder the items, because they are all gently used. They're not new items. So if they have a problem getting them laundered, we can do that for them as well. Any other questions?
So you're not taking any more donations
Not at this time, no. We'll maybe look at it again in a month or so. We need the people to come in to take some of it first.
Right.
So, yeah. But I watch our Facebook page. That's where I usually put that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to.
And sign up for your emails. All of you all ought to get on her email list. I highly recommend.
I try to share whatever is happening over the 13 county area, so it is a lot of information, but.
Do you collect scrubs also?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, scrubs is something that we don't have a lot of right now, and we have a lot of participants going to nursing school or CNA school, so yes, scrubs is something I am still taking, if anybody wants to donate. Well, thank you guys. I'm gonna turn it back over to Tracy, and she's gonna tell you all about the money programs.
The money part of it. Thank you. All right, so let's talk money. Let's talk about the reason we're here, right? Learn about the free money for employers. So again, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, federally funded program under the Department of Labor. For employers, all these programs are reimbursement programs, right? So you pay the new hire the wage up front, or you pay for the training up front, and then we reimburse. So we have several programs under the Wioa employer programs. On the job training, that's probably our most popular program. That's the training of a new hire, upskilling of a current employee, right? So you have a brand new employee that you've hired, you've made the offer to hire, they've accepted. There's a very simple process at that point that the employer can go through with us. We'll reach out to that new employee, see if they meet our program's guidelines. There is eligibility involved. And if that new hire does meet the eligibility guidelines and fills on our paperwork and we can get them registered, then the employer is reimbursed up to 75% of that new employee's wage, up to 1,040 hours. So reimbursement is 25 to 75% is going to be dependent on company size. And then max training period is 1,040 hours. So depending on what that person is being hired for, so for example, an administrative assistant doesn't need 1,040 hours of on-the-job training versus somebody who is going to be running, a piece of machinery that they've never run before. Department of Labor dictates that for us. So Department of Labor says, okay, for an administrative assistant, this is how many hours you can allow for on-the-job training. I always kind of add this caveat. I've had people, on-the-job training isn't I'm sitting in a class or I'm sitting in front of a computer doing a certain specific training. On-the-job training is required for any and every position, right? A cashier has to learn the company's process, how to use that specific, that cash register. So there's on-the-job training involved anytime you hire a new employee. So think outside of the box, you know what I mean? It's not just I have a new employee that has to sit in a class or has to attend a specific training. On-the-job training exists for any new employee. There's learning involved always on the front end. Customized training is another one of our programs. This is designed to meet the needs of an employer or group of employers. So this might be introduction of new technology, a new system, a new program. Something that's new that the employees are required to learn in order to continue to do their job. It's specific to that employer or a group of employers. Incumbent worker training, I always say this is my favorite. One, it's the easiest process, but it also allows for the most reimbursement for the employer. So incumbent worker training is designed to meet the special requirements of an employer or group to retain skilled workforce or avert a layoff. What's an incumbent worker? An incumbent worker is someone who has an established work history with the employer for 6 months or longer. That's an incumbent worker. I feel like it sounds way more, way more than it actually is, but that's the definition of an incumbent worker. So with the incumbent worker training, again, reimbursement is based on company size. Depending on company size, we can reimburse up to 90% of the training for a current employee. So you have somebody that's been with you 6 months or longer, or you have a group of employees where the majority have been with you 6 months or longer. And they need to get a certification, and we work the process. And again, depending on your company size, we can reimburse up to 90% for that training. Trainings that we cover, always ask the question, I need to send this employee to training, could that be covered under a Wioa program? But I can tell you we don't do refresher courses. So new certifications, a new skill, something like that. We won't do the refresher courses for like OSHA and things, but we just had a small company send 5 of their employees to a certification training in Pittsburgh. It was a 3-day training. They had to have it. They had to have that certification in order to be able to go out and do the jobs that the company does. And we were able to reimburse 90% of that. So what normally would have cost the employer about $8,000 for 3-day training for 5 people, we reimbursed them for 90% of that. So it costs them.
Now, is that reimbursement for the cost of the training?
Correct.
Or their wages to attend?
The cost of the training.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that
Good
include
question.
travel?
It does not. So none of the programs were reimbursed for travel or lodging or anything like that. On the job training, we reimburse for a certain percentage of the new hire's wage. Customized incumbent worker, we reimburse for the cost of the training. Any questions about those?
Just a
Yep.
caveat on the customized training, if they're going to a location where they may have to fly or travel and the employer is paying their wage for that travel time, then we can reimburse on the wage. We always only reimburse for wages. So that's travel time that they're getting paid for, so we can include that in the reimbursement cost
For the customized training.
for the customized training.
That's why Amy's here.
Does training include like certification, maintenance, or continuing education for professionals?
Does not. That's a good question. Continuing ed, refresher courses, it does not. It must lead to a new certification or a new skill.
If anybody's interested in IT certifications from Google, I wanna mention we have 100 scholarships for our region. Anyone in the state of West Virginia, they have to be a West Virginia resident. We would like to get them in our region, but they can be anywhere in the state. Check out our Facebook page, there's 4 of them, free of charge. We just have to have them fill out an application, but there's 4 different IT Google certifications that they can get, and it's free. Sorry, Trace.
No, don't apologize. Any questions on these 3 programs? Okay, we'll come. Transitional Job Training, this is another, this program we reimburse for wage. So what's a transitional job? A transitional job is one that provides limited work experience for those who either have barriers to employment or have basically a poor work history, right? Their work history is spotty. So the goal behind a transitional job training is to get somebody into the workforce and get them some basic skills, right? Some basic work skills, social skills that are involved when it comes to working, right, in the workforce or within industry. So the whole goal was for them to just start to build that resume. There's a minimum of 3 components. So work experience reimbursed at 100%. So for a transitional job, we do reimburse 100% of the wage. The max is 1,040 hours, but these are, we're gonna call them entry-level jobs, right? So these are administrative assistants, janitorial. Those will, Department of Labor will never allow 1,040 hours for one of those positions. But what that does mean is that individual could do a transitional job with multiple employers. So it gives the individual and the employers some flexibility there, and that's 100% reimbursement. Classroom training provided a rate of 8 hours for every 32 hours of actual work performed. We are flexible on what is what we consider classroom training, right? The whole goal is we want to get these individuals work ready. That's the whole goal behind these. So whether you're sitting down and going over, how you do Word or how you do Excel, or you take advantage of the Google certifications, that's a great way to check off that box, right? We have these free certifications, and while that individual's at work, they could take a couple hours, you know what I mean, a week or a day, and work on one of those. And then supportive service is necessary. So our career planners or myself, when we talk to the individual, right, that's going to be participating, that employee that's going to be participating, we work with them to see if there's any barriers in the way. Is there anything that's going to hinder them from getting to work and doing the job they've been hired for every day? And if so, there's lots of resources and referrals that we can make. We can help with mileage reimbursement, which ultimately will help with a little bit of gas money. So the whole goal is for these people to be successful, right? Set them up to be successful, and then as they build that work history, right, we get somebody that's in the workforce that has a work history and has some skills. If you choose, so you do a transitional job training, you're like, this person's awesome, I want to keep them on full time, we can transition that into an OJT contract, excuse me. So there is some opportunity there available. You're going to get 100% reimbursed. Usually, what are they, about 460, 480 hours for the entry levels? And then you think, okay, great, we're gonna keep them on full time, we're gonna hire them, and we can look into doing an OJT contract, which will continue some reimbursement for their wage, back to that 25 to 75%. Did I miss anything on that one?
No, and then this one really is something that we promote to the individuals to place them. It's not usually something that the employers are going to be coming to us going, I need to get somebody in transitional, because it is considered short-term temporary employment to give this individual work experience. And again, if you like them and they like it, that's great. We'll put them right into, and keep them on full time. But it is something that you are not obligated to keep this person. If you place them there for like 480 hours and you get that reimbursement, you're not obligated to keep them. Now the OJT, there is an obligation there on the part of the employers that if you have somebody in on the job training, that you're going to keep them after the period of time that we reimburse you.
Unless there's an issue, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're,
They still
aside from the
find
transition, well, yeah, they're your employee while you have them. So if that something happens and you need to let them go, obviously, we don't have any say over that. As long as you're abiding by your own personnel policies. then, you know, we're good. And we'll reimburse you for the time that they were there, up until the point that either they quit or you terminate them.
And unfortunately, we know kind of what the hiring's like right now, right? This is no secret. We're in post-COVID, post-pandemic world. And the workforce is it's completely turned upside down. And unfortunately, we've had employers, somebody's worked, completed the process for OJT, they've worked 2 days and they said, all right, I'm out. Amy gets with them, you know what I mean? And that employer, for those 2 days that individual's there, they still get reimbursed. So, we understand how it works, and that's a really kind of good way to offset your costs. And you know that you have sometimes a lot of investment, right? There's a lot of training on the front end for certain positions. And I've talked to many employers after events just like this, who've been like, I need to hire somebody, but there's a lot of training on the front end, and I'm hesitant to bring somebody in. I'm fearful they're gonna leave me, right? I'm gonna invest all this time in them, and then they're gonna leave me. We can't really do anything about that part of it. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast, but maybe we can help offset some of that cost. So if unfortunately you're in those circumstances, the cost that you had isn't as much as it would have been without an employer program.
And on the job training, if you have current employees that you would like to move into another position or upskill to another position, then we can see if they're eligible for the on-the-job training also, and they can get upskilled, so we call it upskilling. So you're moving somebody from, a worker position to a supervisor. You're gonna promote them up, and they're gonna be in a supervisory position. It's a whole nother ballgame for them. So we can then look and see if we can put them under OJT then, and help reimburse some of the costs there, because again, you're gonna be spending time getting that person trained into that position.
So as an employer, you're probably thinking, well, how do I even take advantage of this? What qualifies me as an employer, or what does an employer need to do to be eligible to receive Wioa funding? Pretty simple process. We don't need an application. We don't need a whole book of paperwork for you to fill out. You have to register in the state's online database, which is called the MAC system. That's a statewide database that a lot of us share, a lot of service resource partner agencies, Workforce West Virginia, which think unemployment, but they also do job orders. We all share that system. Getting registered in there. We have 5 documents for Region 6 that we send to you. We ask you to review, sign, send back to us. Basic stuff. You agree to equal opportunity, drug-free workplace. You're not going to take Wioa dollars and go down to Charleston and lobby. Things like that. Pretty basic stuff. There's 5 of those we have you sign. And then we need a verification letter that you're in compliance with unemployment for the state, good standing from tax department, and verification of workers' comp coverage. So that's what makes, once we have that in your file as an employer, you're eligible to receive Wioa funding. We give you directions on how to obtain those documents. We'll give you directions on getting registered if you ever have issues. Missy at the state level is really great about helping us, so we'll help you with this process. But it's fairly simple. It's not too bad at all. Once we've got that employer file, you're good to receive Wioa funding. For an individual, so you have an employee, right? We talked about there's an eligibility factor for some of those employer programs. All eligible participants must be authorized to work in the United States. A dislocated worker, so somebody that falls under this category, has been terminated or has been laid off due to a company closure or company downsizing. Unfortunately, we have a very good example in this area, and that would be with the Milan closure, right? So all of those employees that were laid off when Milan closed, regardless of what their layoff date was, they're considered a dislocated worker. So they're on unemployment, or again, they've been laid off. Adult 18 years or older must meet income guidelines. So when you hire a new employee that you want to work under the OJT program, you're gonna send me the information. I'm gonna reach out to that new employee to see if they meet the income guidelines depending on their household number. I have all that information. We do all of that. The employer's not required to do that. But there is an eligibility factor for that. So I work with them, see if they're eligible. If so, I get them through the process, and get the paperwork and get them registered and everything. If they're not eligible, meaning they're over the income guidelines, or for whatever reason it's a voluntary process. So a new hire can say, I don't want to give you this information. Not a problem, we move on. You still have to honor that offer to hire, right? Because the whole goal is you would hire them no matter what, regardless of the reimbursement. But we take care of all the eligibility, but it is income-based. So I always like to put that out there. If someone's receiving assistance, if they're on unemployment or food stamps or TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families, those are eligibility factors, and then after that it becomes income-based. So that's the eligibility for an individual, and that is for the on-the-job training program. Incumbent, we don't have to do that for incumbent worker.
We gather the information for an
Yeah.
incumbent worker, but it's not an eligibility factor because it's strictly for the employer's benefit that the training's being conducted.
Yep, so for incumbent worker, we get a payroll history, but I don't have to look at household income for an incumbent worker. Any questions on the eligibility part? Or what employers need to provide? All right, yeah,
I didn't see a disqualification for nonprofits and governmental entities.
good question. So, provided the entity does not receive public funds, okay? So you're not receiving city, county, state, you're not funded by those types of dollars. Am I getting it right?
We're in the process of possibly redefining that. But right now, nonprofits are fine.
Yeah.
It's public, private, and nonprofit sectors are eligible. We just have some redefinition going on with the state on what is public sector. So.
Okay.
And that's always happening. But
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing thing, you know, federal guidelines change sometimes in the midstream and then we have to fall back and put.
So yeah, but no, nonprofits are not excluded.
It's always good to ask if you're not sure.
Yeah, and look, I always say at these presentations, I'm a circumstance person, meaning you have a set of circumstances at your business. Email me, tell me what you've got, what you need. I'll get with Amy and we'll look at it and see if there's something we can do. I always tell employers, don't exclude yourself. When you hire somebody, let us do the eligibility part. You know what I mean? Don't worry about that part of it, because you never know. I've had people call before and say, is this something that could work under an employer program? And it can, and they're shocked. So don't ever discount it. Definitely ask. Worst case scenario is the answer is no, but that's not a no for forever. That's no for that specific set of circumstances or that employer or that training. Any other questions? Wow. Yep. Okay, I do want to mention this. We have a job fair. Region 6 is sponsoring a job fair May 26th in Fairmont at the Mollahan Research Building. So I did want to bring this up. I have registration forms. So if any of you as employers want to register and have a table at this event, it's free to employers. We are also offering for employers only that register, not for job seekers, but for employers. At 11, we're partnering with WVU Industrial Extension to offer an hour lean manufacturing overview, and for free to the employers who register, and you get a certificate of completion. So meet lean manufacturing. Lean process can be applied to anything, right? It's just better management, better efficiency. It doesn't have to be specific to manufacturing. But that's what they're going to go over. So that's a really kind of a nice certificate to stick in your file. But that's going to be offered free of charge. So if anybody wants to register for the job fair, if you want to register today, I have the forms, or you can reach out to any of us at a later date. We'll stop taking registrations on the 19th, if not sooner. We already have over 40 registered. So at a certain point, we literally just run out of space. So if you're interested in a table, I tell you to go ahead and get registered as soon as possible. Any questions? You all have all this info. It's a ton of info in a short amount of time. It's all in your packets. I think everything has Amy and I's contact information, at least one of us, but most of it has both. So reach out to us. You'll think of something, I'm sure, when you leave. Call or email us and ask. Don't hesitate.
And we're available to come out and meet at your location
For
if
sure.
you want to get more information, or we can do everything by Zoom, email, however's most convenient for you guys.
Thank you so much for your time.
Ladies, thank you very much. We've got a token of appreciation for each of you, and you can trade if you don't. But it's something to get get your,
Thank you.
your weekend
Friday.
started.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so
Friday.
much. Happy Friday.
Yeah, and that's from our local winery, Baton Hollow. They're here in Harrison County, so we thank them for providing the gifts for our speakers today. We thank you all for attending. We've got several events coming up. The 26th is going to be a very busy day. We have a ribbon that morning, then the job fair, and then an after hours that evening from 5 to 7 at the PWA. Our next Business at Breakfast will be here on June the 10th. If you've not participated in the Leadership Harrison program, we will be accepting applications in July for the next class, which starts in September. So be thinking about that. Watch your emails the end of June, 1st of July for those applications to come out. And mark your calendar for the North Central West Virginia Business Summit. That will be Tuesday, October 25th. More details to follow on that. But that's a partnership with Mon, Marion, and Harrison and Preston counties, and we're looking forward to a great lineup of speakers this fall. So, with that, happy Friday. Thank you all for being here, and see you next time.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.